Hello all and welcome back to another wonderful Ponytown video. Today I'm here in Ponytown to share with you all a few little things that you might not have known about the game and a few things that you just really can't unsee once you see them. So starting off with number one, as you can see my object limit is 2,600 out of the amount of objects that I can place on my party island, but if I go into this house here, it changes drastically all the way down to 425. That's right, here number one on the list, there's a random straw in here. Anyway, number one on the list is the fact that your object limit is drastically smaller inside the house than it is outside. It's a little bit of a shame that that's the case, but it also kind of makes sense if you think about it because it is a drastically smaller space. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump to number two, which is something about the benches are a little bit off. That's right, something about the benches are a little bit off. I made a short about this not too long ago, but suffice it to say, the bench makes no sense. As you can see, my hair is not below it, but now it's in between there somehow, and it just stays in between it all the way up. This is only possible if the bench is at an incredibly odd angle. I made a mock-up for it and everything, so here's the mock-up of it. But let's go ahead and jump straight from that one to number three. Spiders, as you can see from this one here, don't actually come down from the spider web that's also in the same tree. It's a little bit weird. Are they spinning a new web? What's going on? I don't know, but they apparently don't like this web because they never come from this web. They always come from this side. At least that's the case with a handful of the trees. I haven't checked literally every single tree to make sure, but at least in this one, for some reason, they appear on the left side instead of the right side. Maybe it's because it's hard to see it if it's on this side. And again, I've said this before in previous videos too, but why is the spider web black? Why is the spider web solid black? I don't know. Whatever. Let's move on to some more. Because another thing that you probably didn't know is that you can actually change the direction of your party boat. Everyone knows that you can grab it and move it around and everything like that, but you obviously cannot delete it. If I try and delete this, it's never going to let me delete it. It's literally impossible. But you can change the direction it's facing. So all you have to do is get yourself the right tool and, whoops, that's the wrong tool. This is the right tool. You get yourself a wrench and then you can click on it and it will actually rotate the boat to be facing the other direction. So it is actually possible to rotate your boat to face a different direction. So if you like it facing this way, you can. If you like it facing this way, then just leave it alone because that's what it is by default. And moving on up here to our next one on the list, windows are a little bit weird in this game. Especially just the round windows. Like the other windows, like the square windows, they're all fine and normal. But once we get to these round windows, something gets a little bit off on them. So essentially, if you actually click them and like hold them with a crowbar, or if you're about to place them down, you can actually see the imprint of a square behind them. It's super weird and it's super obvious in this little red space here where it used to be. And it's even more prevalent in the big one. In the big one, it's almost so big that it actually clips off the corners of the roundness of the window frame. It's super weird, and it's been like that ever since it's been added to the game. I don't know why that's never been changed, fixed, or whatever. I guess because it ultimately isn't really causing any issues. It just looks a little bit goofy. But yeah, that's a little bit of a weird thing. Also, you can stack them like this, and it makes a snowman. A really weird snowman, but hey, it's a snowman if you squint your eyes hard enough. Moving on right over here, you may have noticed I have a line of paintings here, and that's because paintings are a little bit weird too. That's right, paintings are a little bit weird too, and I bet you didn't know this, but paintings, for some reason, some paintings always will stack over others, and some will never stack over others. For example, I have this base painting here. If I was to take literally any of these other paintings here and try and stack them perfectly on top of each other, like so, it will always be behind all these paintings. No matter which one I choose, it will always be behind all of them. I don't know why this is, but for some reason, this one just has the lowest priority out of all of the different paintings here. Next up, this painting will always go over this one, but it won't always necessarily go over all of them. For example, if I put it on the one directly above it, it won't go above it for some reason. I don't know why, it's just weird. And then the pine trees, it will go over that one, of course, as we already saw, and obviously it'll go over that one as well, but it won't go over the pumpkins, and that's really weird. And so the pumpkins, of course, will go over all the ones below it, but it won't go over the one that has the bird on it. And for whatever reason, the bird is the only one that has the highest priority out of all of the paintings. That's right, because even Ponytown loves birds, I guess, because no matter where I put this at, no matter which painting I stack this on top of, it will always be on the top. I don't know why this is the case, but I guess, as I said, my best guess is just that it just has a higher priority than the other paintings. For whatever reason, if you start stacking them, the bird will always be on the top, and that's a weird thing to me. Next up and last up, we have the leaves. That's right, the leaves. The leaves. It's time to leave. No, it's not time to leave. Let's finish this video first. So we have a pile of leaves here that are just sitting here. And I noticed this when I was just like trying desperately to look for stuff because I'm kind of running out of things to like make videos on with this kind of thing. But I did notice this and it's super weird. But for some reason, the leaves have these like essentially black outlines on the bottom of them. It's not the shadow because you can see the shadow there. It's like on that end of it. But for whatever reason, there's like just a black edge to them for some reason. Are they burnt? I don't know. And so I was like, okay, is it on the other leaves? And it kind of is. It's on the winter ones slightly, but it kind of makes sense. It's kind of shaded. It kind of matches the vibe of it. It's still a little bit darker than what makes any sense to me. But then you get into the orange ones and the yellow ones, and they're also very similar to the other ones. They have that really dark outline on the bottom for whatever reason. It also kind of matches and it also kind of works, but the green ones, the base summer spring ones, they just look super weird. I don't know why they're just black on the edges. It's super weird. Did they get burnt? I don't know. Did someone dip them in black paint? I sure hope so, because this makes no sense. I'm losing my mind over this, and because of that, I have to end the video. It's time to leave. That's right, it now is time to leave. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please do consider liking, subscribing, sharing, and doing all of those wonderful things like that. Because when you do wonderful things like that, not only do you get access to wonderful content such as this, but you also get to become one for yourself, and I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful.